Hillary Clinton has decided it's time to clear the air, according to her spokesperson, quote, "Earlier today, the secretary called President Obama to make sure he knows that nothing she said was an attempt to attack him, his policies, or his leadership." This is all about those comments she made in that Atlantic interview, including one about the White House mantra, the whole don't do stupid stuff when it comes to foreign policy. In her words, great nations need organizing principles, and don't do stupid stuff is not an organizing principle. The president's former advisor, David Axelrod, actually had a response for that. This is what he said. Just to clarify, this is via Twitter, just to clarify, don't do stupid stuff means stuff like occupying Iraq in the first place, which was a tragically bad decision. He is referring to the decision supported by Hillary Clinton's vote in the U.S. Senate, a vote she has since described as a mistake. So to Washington we go, to the host of The Lead, Jake Tapper. And Jake, if I may, just glancing down what we're just getting also from the Hillary Clinton spokesperson, and I quote, when they see each other tonight, they being Hillary Clinton and President Obama, she looks forward to hugging it out tomorrow night.
Well, look, I think there's a certain degree of sophistication that is at play here. President Obama is aware that if Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, former Secretary of State Clinton, runs for office, she is going to have to distance herself from some of the sitting president's policies, especially with his approval ratings so low. And very specifically, she, in addition to the don't do stupid stuff, it's actually not stuff, but we'll say stuff on TV.
Don't keep it clean.
Well, in addition to that mantra, she also most pointedly, I think, took issue with the fact that she, as has been long established, supported arming moderate Syrian rebels. Many others did as well, and President Obama did listen and did not listen to that. And ultimately, she blames what's going on in Iraq right now with the rise of the barbaric ISIS terrorists to that decision, to the vacuum left. So that's pretty pointed. But look, President Obama knows what time it is, that if she runs, that she's going to have to distance himself, and she knows that she more broadly has to embrace him, as she did in the interview, more broadly, while taking issue with specific points.
So there are other layers to this story, as there is any time, and I know you're talking to Josh Rogan. I saw his reporting last night from the Daily Beast, keeping the theme of keeping it clean. I won't say the word that he reports the president used,
horse
but,
hockey.
Some horse hockey, Tapper, is that what we're going with?
Well, I mean, it's not horse hockey, but it is horse something. But horse hockey was it's what Colonel Potter used to say on MASH. But yeah, he said criticism of his policy in Syria and the idea that the different, things would be different now if he had armed certain rebels is horse hockey. And, that's, according to Josh Rogan in the Daily Beast, an argument that President Obama made behind closed doors to many members of Congress. And he feels on the defensive right now about that decision. Hillary Clinton was not alone. The Secretary of Defense, Leon Panetta, the CIA director, David Petraeus, the Secretary of State's envoy to the region. Other people resigned. Frederick Hoff, who was the chief person for the State Department in charge of Syria policy, resigned. I mean, there were a lot of people in the administration who thought that President Obama made the wrong decision. It's hard to argue that what's going on right now in Iraq and Syria was a good result.